Okie dokie. Yes, welcome to the Dennison programs and interviews here in the UK. It's great to get my next guest who's been on my show before. We have Peter Foldy, just Peter Foldy. He's chatting to me about his latest single, which is a collaboration. Welcome back, Peter. How is life treating you since we
Well,
last
thank
spoke?
thank you, Dan. Life's been good. Life's been busy. I've got the new track and I'm in post-production on three movies actually. They're all wrapping up now. So it's been pretty hectic.
Great,
Can't
that is
can't
so good.
complain. Yeah.
And what's life like over the California at the moment?
Well, as you know, I'm in Los Angeles. There's riots downtown, and there's a curfew, and there's protests and stuff. So a lot of political stuff going on downtown, which is kind of disturbing and scary. I'm not too far from it, but not close enough to have to worry. But people are out doing their their rights to protest, basically. But the government is clamping down with Marines and National Guard is coming in, so they're kind of raising the temperature. Plus, the temperature is already hot because
Yeah.
it's a very warm day here today. You know,
Well, hopefully everything will blow over soon for everyone.
hopefully,
And
yes.
we're here about the music, and where would life be without music? Such
Very true.
so therapeutic, isn't it? Music.
It is, and it's amazing. You can be in the worst mood, and listen, put my earphones on and take a walk, and life seems so much better. It is an amazing thing.
Great. And now people can listen to my last interview with you just to find out a little bit more about yourself. But in my last interview, we did mention about you maybe doing a collaboration with other artists. And yes, it's happened. You were collaborating with a young lady called Beki Colada. How did you both kind of cross paths?
Well, it's kind of very serendipitous. She's a very striking young woman. I met her at a party and said hello, and it turned out she was Australian. And I lived in Australia. I'm actually an Australian citizen myself. I have a couple of different passports, Canadian, Australian. And we started talking. She told me she's a singer. I looked up her stuff on the uh, the internet, and she was great. She had a gold record back in the late '90s, early 2000s. With her, she has a band called the Mavises out of Australia. It's her and her brother and some other guys. And I liked the track, and then I had this song. It wasn't originally intended to be a duet, but somebody called me up, a lady I know called me up and said, I want to do a duet with you. And I went, okay. I said, well, I got this track. Maybe this would work. And she took a crack at it, and the key was just wrong for her. It just wasn't the right key. It was a man's key. And so she couldn't really handle it. And I thought, well, now what do I do? So I thought, what about Becky? I wonder if she could possibly, do a good job on this. So I called her up, sent her the track. She came in the studio and she nailed it. And it was really serendipitous. She came back one other time. She added some harmonies and stuff, and it all worked. It really feels like a fun kind of summery yacht rock kind of track.
And would you describe it as like a perfect duet?
It's perfect. I haven't done too many duets, so it's perfect for me. Yeah, it's yeah. I feel like it's a strong duet. She kind of sounds like a little bit. I don't know if you remember Samantha Sang. The Bee Gees did a track with her called "Emotion." Remember that song? Just emotion that's taking me over.
Oh, yes,
Tied up
yes.
in sorrow, lost in my song. So Samantha Sang sounds a lot like Becky Colada on my track. Yeah.
And what's it being received like from the general public?
Everyone who's heard it has liked it. It's very hard to get people to hear it because 40,000 new songs come out on Spotify every day. So how do you get noticed? But I've been getting it on some playlists, and the reaction has been very, very, like, nobody said it sucks. So people seem to be liking it. And my friends who have heard it and Becky's friends who have heard it like it. And we're just we're just starting the promotion process now. It's come out to Canadian radio. And then, of course, Rob Saunders in England has sent it out to a bunch of people, including yourself. So, I think it's getting good reaction
That's what
overall.
we
But
like.
it's kind of a long, slow rollout. So I'm going to keep working it for the summer, and see what happens.
Yes, that's what it's all about. Keep plugging away. And did you
Yeah.
have fun, going into the recording studio together for Showdown? That's your latest single.
Yeah, I mean, look, I love the recording studio. To me, it's like therapy. When I'm in there, I am just like so happy. I go, wow, like I'm home. Because, I've been doing this a long time and it's interesting. It is like riding a bike. You kind of go in there and, you're nervous maybe going in before you go in, and then you go in, it's like riding a bike and you kind of just get the handle of it. You get the sense of it, how to punch in words, or I got to sing that last line again. You punch that in. So it's a process. It's really fun. I really enjoy it. And it was fun having Becky in. She and I didn't actually sing together on the same microphone. I already recorded the song, and then I pulled out parts for her to sing. So, but I was there obviously when she did it.
It's amazing technology these days. Like when I did interviews, everyone during COVID lockdown, they remotely recorded. They didn't have to
Yeah,
like travel anywhere.
that's right. A lot of things changed during COVID. It was terrible. And I wrote that song Toxic World, which I don't know if you've heard that song of mine. But yeah, all about the toxic world we were
Mm.
living in and still continue to live in. So yeah, there's some inspiration to be had out of COVID, but mostly it was a really bad year, you know.
Mhm.
Just
And have you managed to perform the Showdown to a live audience yet?
I have not performed it to a live audience. That's something that we haven't even thought about because, I mean, it would mean putting a band together, or, like if the opportunity came up to do it on television or something like that, we could certainly sing it to a track. But these days tracks are so complicated and put together, in studios, and they're so elaborate. It's very hard to get a band to replicate that sound,
Mm.
in person. So that has not been a conversation,
Yeah.
but you never know.
And have you done much TV work? I know films is your department, but do you do much TV appearances, like shows at all?
As a singer,
As a singer artist, yeah.
I have done a lot over the years. I haven't done much recently because there really haven't been that many opportunities. But back in the day when I started my recording career, I did tons of television. I did talk shows and musical shows, and
Mm.
just yeah, it was fun
And did you get recognized in the
going on TV.
streets? Did you get
Say again.
recognized did you get recognized in the street during the time?
Not too often. Like, so my successes were in Canada. And the thing about Canada is they make music on the radio, but they don't really make stars. Like the stars in Canada are the ones that come from America. Like in Canadians' eyes, it's like the American stars that are actually the stars. They play the Canadian content. They play partly because they have to, but they play Canadian music. And but they don't. There isn't a lot of venues for Canadian artists to really sort of burst through and be, the way you would with an American star. Like in America, you got so many talk shows and daytime shows and nighttime shows and Grammys and Emmys and all that stuff. And those kind of opportunities, they exist for the really big, the Canadians that have broken through. But generally, it's not something that's, super common. But I did, back in the day, I did a considerable number of TV appearances.
Mm.
And I played live as well. I mean, I toured across Canada. I had a band. I played in lots of venues. It was a lot of fun. I opened for the Hollies. Do you know who the Hollies are?
Yes, I do. Yes,
So I opened for them. That was exciting.
yeah. And
Across
it's
Canada.
sad news today because you hear we talked about the Beach
Yes,
Boys.
yes, and they were a huge influence on me. And I did see them live a couple of times. Brian Wilson passed, and you know, very sad. I was like, oh, I almost had tears in my eyes because I mean, he was such a brilliant guy. Just so talented. He's a genius. I mean, he influenced the Beatles. I
Mm.
mean, some of those songs. When I heard the news, I was actually at the shop, and somebody called me and told me. And I came home and I put on some Beach Boy albums and just listened to them as a tribute. I might light a candle for Brian Wilson after this.
Ah, bless you. And
Yeah.
with the Showdown as well, can you just tell me a little bit more about the song itself?
Well, strangely, I wrote the song a long time ago, believe it or not. Well, you can believe it because I'm telling it to you. But I wrote the song and it was kind of like a disco vibe. But when I've got this producer I work with, John Zeig, he's brilliant. I mean, I just send him something guitar voice and he just creates an amazing track out of it. So I sent him the track and he came back with this kind of chilled out R&B, kind of, like I say, yacht rock kind of vibe to it. And I went, wow, this really is so much better. The disco thing was just more up tempo, and it just didn't. It wasn't as good. Let's put it that way. I'm much happier with this incarnation of it than I was with the disco-y version of it.
And
But it's been in my files for like, I don't know, 25 years, and I
could
just
you
dug it out.
could you describe it as a sleeper hit then?
I hope so. I hope it'll be a sleeper hit, with a slow start, but start taking off. Look, I think it's the kind of thing that could, get played and listened to, a long time to come. It's not like a sort of current sounding thing and it's going to pass. It's kind of got a very, like I say, yacht rock. I mean, yacht rock is a very comfortable genre, and I think the song kind of fits into that ballpark.
And could this song lead to future projects with Beki Colada
Yeah,
herself?
absolutely. I think I would, definitely think about writing something else for her and I to do together. I think I might be, yeah, I think that I really didn't think about it that seriously, but I think now that you've said it, I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to create a song for the two of us and put that out.
And
Maybe even next. Who knows?
do you feel you have a great working chemistry with Becky as well?
Yeah, because she's so, she has very good ear. She was really good, finding the harmonies, and she brought some good suggestions to the track. And it just like I feel, I know, have you heard it? You've heard it, obviously.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I felt like we blended well together. So yes, I would definitely do more stuff with her.
And what's the feeling like when you hear your song being played on the radio and playlists? It must be a rewarding feeling.
It's a crazy feeling. It really is. Like, especially thinking back to the early days when I started in the business, and when I remember the first time I heard you don't forget certain things, like you always remember where, when the day John Lennon got killed, there's certain things you remember. I remember the first time I heard myself on the radio, and it's like, I got a head rush. I must have just like flushed with, oh my God. It meant so much, and it was so amazing. And it still is when you hear it on the radio, even if I just have Spotify on and some playlist and I pop up on that, I go, oh wow. And certain songs, each song has a special meaning or a special memory or a special, you think back, I remember when I did that. I remember when I sang that line. I remember who was in the studio. So it's really quite trippy.
Mm. And are you still a fan of vinyl as well?
Say that one more time.
Are you still a fan of vinyl records?
I'm a big fan of vinyl records, and I have a record player, and I have a decent collection. Although I stupidly gave some away when things started dying in the vinyl world, and I didn't have enough room in my apartment. But yes, I love vinyl, and I wish physical content would start selling again, like CDs or tapes or vinyl. That would be amazing. And it does for the big artists. I mean, the Beatles and Elton John and big artists can definitely sell vinyl. And there's a segment of the population that still love that stuff and buy it. So, do you have any vinyl?
Yeah, I do actually. I'm a DJ at home, and I collect a
Right.
lot of
Okay.
house records, like 12 inches.
Amazing.
Funky house.
I'll have to send you one. I did back in the day. I did a record with a girl called Mona Lisa Young, and she's an African American artist. She's super talented. She sang backgrounds for Bob Dylan and a bunch of other people, and she was signed to Motown. And me and a producing partner and I produced some tracks with her. And I should send them to you. You should listen to them. Maybe you can play them in your shows.
Yes, I'm always open to hearing new music.
Yeah, I mean, this is from the '80s, but I think it still fits the dance format. So after
Yeah,
this,
definitely.
after I get off, I'll
80s,
send you a couple of tracks from her.
80s very popular still. And I was going to ask about record shops as well. Speaking of vinyl, do you have like a Tower Records in Los Angeles or a HMV still?
Sadly, we don't. I mean, Tower Records was like, the place to go for many, many years. We have Amoeba. Have you heard of Amoeba Records? It's a really huge record store, and that's pretty much the only one. They sell old videos and old vinyl and new vinyl, and that's the big record store in Los Angeles. I mean, I'm sure there's little mom and pop stores, just like there's some VHS stores popping up that have all the old movies.
Mm.
I love all that stuff, and sad when it all went away.
And I must ask, with the Showdown, with your director skills, will you be doing a music video for this at some point?
I did. I wasn't planning on it. I wasn't, but you never know. I did shoot. If you look at Showdown on Spotify, I shot a couple of little clips of Becky and I walking together, just because you're supposed to, not supposed to, but they encourage you to have a skin. I think that's what they call it. Is the skin?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah, skin. So when you play the record on Spotify, you can see a little image. So I do have that up there, and you know, maybe I will. I mean, I don't know. It, it's just all of this is like pretty involved. If you say you're going to do a video, it'll cost several $1,000s if you want to do it properly. So you have to kind of look at weigh the situation of how much time, how much money do I want to invest in this thing. You know, Making the record is costly. You have to go in the studio. You have to pay for that. You have to pay for musicians. So it's a hobby. It's not a cheap hobby.
And that's, some people just don't realize like the logistics and the feasibility, like the music. That's why I call it the music business. You know,
There's a business element to it for sure. Yeah.
and
I mean, I'm fortunate. Like I say, I've been doing it a long time. I've been on some major labels, so I have a pretty good understanding of the business. Although there's a lot I don't understand of what's going on today. I mean, I'll turn on Spotify and I'll come across a track and it'll be okay. And it's not brilliant. And then I look and the artist has 50 million streams, and you go, who the heck is this guy? How did he get 50 million streams? Like, I've never heard of the person. They're not on television. They're not in magazines. Who are they? How do they get the streams? How does something become that viral? And I don't know. Do you know? Do you have any idea?
oh, well,
Enlighten me.
yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is maybe it's bots or something.
You mean
Like
you mean they bought the streams? Oh, bots. Yeah, so
bots.
that's
Yeah,
right. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think you could buy 50 million or 30 million bots to do that. I think Spotify would drop you. I mean, maybe you could buy a few, but I think when you get to those high numbers, I think they'd look at that because they have to pay money on that stuff.
yeah.
So they go, wait a minute, are we paying this to robots? So there's
Yeah,
that.
sure. One
But
analogy was where you see the hits, how many times it's been listened to. Is that all of the song, or just like a little click and someone's clicked off after a few seconds?
well, I know that on YouTube, if somebody listens to it for 3 seconds, it still qualifies as a view, but they do tell you in your statistics as to how long they watched it or how long they listened to it. So I'm not sure how that works on Spotify. There's a lot I don't understand about Spotify,
Mm.
about the streaming world. I have some friends who've got a song. I think I might have talked to you about this last time. They're called Friendship, Fren. There's no D, Friendship. They've got one song with about 700 million views, you know. But the crazy story I heard, there's a guy, the TV show Stranger Things?
Oh yes, I've heard about
Yeah.
it. Never seen it.
Okay, so there's a guy called Joe Keery, I think that's his name, and he's a good actor, good-looking guy. And he put out a track on TikTok, and nothing happened for 3 months. And then somebody discovered it on TikTok and started using it on clips, and the song exploded. Took a year. The guy currently has 1.5 billion streams. Now, he's a talented guy. Is the song worthy of 1.5? You go, yeah, it's okay. It sounds like a lot of other songs. How did this thing get 1.5 billion? Now, partly it's because, he's a recognized TV actor. So people, he has an audience and he draws people in. So there's that. But 1.5 billion, that's a lot of streams. And that's potentially a lot of money in his pocket.
Yeah, it's insane,
So
isn't it?
it's just hard to figure and how to work it and how to do it. I don't know. There
Great,
are
but
people who, I was just gonna
wanted to
say, there
ask
are
if
people.
you have any social media links, any websites, and plug in Becky's as well.
Yes, so I have Peter Foldy. On Instagram, it's one word, Peter Foldy, at Peter Foldy. I'm also on Facebook under the same name. And then I do have TikTok. Also, I think Peter Foldy, one word instead of a space between it. And I'm on Twitter and never use it. And so I'm kind of out there. So if anybody is listening to this and wants to say hello, I'm always welcoming, thoughts and comments and nice people coming by and saying hello.
Well, that's what it's all about. Well, thanks for the chat today and a catch-up interview. And it's sometimes nice just to talk about music in general as well.
Oh,
And don't forget,
100%.
well, to my listeners, watchers who see this video, where check out your new single, The Showdown.
It's called just Showdown. There's no
Showdown.
D. It's Showdown. It's Peter Foldy featuring Beki Colada. So you can find it on Spotify and all the other streaming services. And look, it's a chill summer song. Hope you like it.
Lovely. Well, I wish you all the best with this record and keep doing what you do. Peter Foldy on today's show.
Thank, thank you, Danny. Take care.
Take care.